Let's talk about your introduction to the judges. So picture this. You are standing in front of the judges and they say, okay, go ahead and introduce yourself. And you panic. Your palms are sweaty. You're not prepared to introduce yourself to the judges. Or, just like everyone else, you say your first name, where you're from, and what degree you have. In this moment, this is the first time, most likely, that the judges are getting to meet you. Yes, you've sent in your resume, your headshot, your application. But when you are in front of the judges, they might not have seen your resume yet. Or the entire judging panel has not seen your resume yet. And so this is your opportunity to showcase who you are, what you believe in, and something different that makes you stand out of everyone else in the room. And here's the thing. I have been on both sides. I have been a judge and I have also been a dancer. And figuring out as a dancer who you are, what you want to tell the judges less than 30 seconds and make it have an impact is one of the most important pieces, because as someone who has listened to 150 back-to-back intros, you want them to listen to your intro and be like, ooh, or wow, that makes a dancer stand out. I know a lot of times we'll hear an intro and we'll look at each other and be like, that's really cool, or that stands out, right? Those are the pieces, those little nuggets that you can give the judges that make you stand out. And while just your intro is not going to take you to the next round, but having each piece of the audition process polished and ready to go is what makes you stand out from the rest of the dancers. Your intro is your first impression to the judges in a room full of amazing, talented dancers. And there's different pieces, or there's different parts at which the introduction can be placed, right? You might submit a virtual submission and they ask you to tell the judges who you are, where you're from, and go into your dance. Then during semifinals, it could be a fun fact about yourself. There's different scenarios depending on the team, the league, and what their audition process is like. However, if you were prepared and what you want to say, or at least have a couple backup options of what you feel like is the best representation of you, that will ultimately set you up for success when an introduction is requested. So every month in our signature program, Sideline Ready, we practice our introductions and we also actually practice interview skills. And this month, one of the dancers who is new to our program, she said, hi, she gave her name, and then she said, I absolutely love my dog and she loves the beach and we like to go on walks together. And I have been in that position before. Yes, I too love my dog. But does you loving your dog help you stand out? What is something about you that nobody else has? And this is why I want to bring it up before audition season, because I want you to start thinking about who you are, what you bring to the table, and something unique about you. Another dancer was like, man, I don't really know. It's hard for me to come up with something. That is the exact reason why we practice. And that is actually the exact reason why we practice every single month in our program. So you can start figuring it out, because now when you're thinking about it, you're like brushing your teeth. Oh, this is actually a cool thing about me. Or we were washing the dishes. Oh, this is something that's cool about me. Those things will just pop into your mind once you know that it's something that you need to be thinking about. A couple of examples that were really stand out in this past month when we were practicing our intros was one of the dancers bought her own home at the age of 24 and fully funded it herself. That shows commitment, that shows drive, that shows the judges, not that you just wanted to buy your own house. It shows deeper layers of who you are, what you stand for, and honestly, like what you're about. Another example is that someone likes to volunteer on a monthly basis at the animal shelters. That shows you most likely are going to sign up for appearances and you're going to be a dancer who wants to be in the community, right? Those are invaluable little nuggets that you can give to the judges straight out the gate and really letting them get to know you. So in our program, there's obviously dancing, right? And I noticed this past week that when I get to learn more about the dancer who is in our program, what their background is, who they are, what they believe in, that is truly what makes me fall in love with the dancer even more. And I was just thinking how it's such a unfortunate situation in that most dancers don't get to talk to the judges and showcase who they are until finals, until the interview process, right? And the reason why the interview process is there, one, it's to make sure that you are the right fit, personality, attitude, all that stuff for the team. It's also to showcase and just learn more about you, right? And I wish that there was a way to interview every single dancer who came through the door and applied, but that's 150, 200 people. This is where the introduction really shines and allows you to showcase who you are, because it just gives the judges a glimpse of you and can just show your personality and be able to let them fall in love with you just a little bit. And the reason why you need to practice the introduction is because if you're nervous, if you aren't able to speak loud enough for them to hear you, you are doing yourself a disservice because you ultimately aren't able to showcase who you truly are and what you believe in and give that little snippet. And I know it's only 30 seconds. It's not going to be this huge, drawn out introduction. However, if you pick the right piece and the right thing to tell the judges who you are and what you believe in, then it can make a huge difference of learning who you are and what you believe in. So here are 3 mistakes that I see dancers make when they approach their introduction or when they're in front of the judges and they're giving their intro. I briefly referenced it, but not having presence and projection. Nobody can be as confident in who you are and what you bring to the table than you. Okay? I want you to hear that. Nobody can be as confident in you than you. And so if you are questioning yourself, questioning your ability, questioning everything, and you don't have the confidence, 1, we fake it till we make it. And then you fake it till you feel it. Okay? Number 2 is that you have to practice this. And you want to be confident in what you're saying. I don't want you to end with a question mark and be like, so did you go to law school or did you not go to law school? Because you had a question at the end of it, so that's making me question it, right? And I also want you to be loud, not in an obnoxious way. I want you to project. I want you to slow down. I want you to have intentional pauses when you're talking. And I want you to be confident in who you are. Okay? Because the last thing that you want to have is the judges being like, oh, what did she say? I couldn't hear her. You never know the instance of the room. Are you going to be super close to the judges? Are you going to be pulled back? Is it going to be super loud? Is there music playing? Is there wind? Whatever's going on, you want to be able to be heard by the judges in that moment when you are in front of them. So that's the first thing that I see dancers do is they don't have presence and they don't have projection. Number 2 is that you say that your fun fact or a little bit about you is that you love to dance and you take a lot of dance classes. Everyone in this room loves to dance, right? You love to dance. The dancer next to you also loves to dance. Most likely, the judges in front of you all love to dance. So, you need to give something different than that. What makes you unique? That is what you should be focusing on. Do you have a bunch of family that you spend a lot of time with? Do you have a really cool job? I had a teammate who was a rocket scientist, and she would literally leave games and she would go to work after the games at 10 o'clock at night, okay? What makes you unique and interesting that can showcase that to the judges? Okay, and the last thing that I see a mistake is that often when dancers are doing this for the first time and they're thinking about what they're going to say. Hi, my name's Amira. I'm from Danville, California. This is my 5th season auditioning for the Warriors dance team. And a fun fact about me is blah, blah, blah. When they start doing that, they'll start twitching or fidgeting or cave in, like I was saying, the projection and the confidence. I want you to stand. I want you to figure out what your stance is going to be. Oftentimes we have our hands behind your back. If you're doing the hand behind your back, make sure you don't have a little chicken wing that is going, right? If your hands are in front of you, make sure your shoulders or you're not twisting and doing all things. That is why we practice in our program, because I'll spot it out and I'll have you stop, redo it, and then you get feedback, right? Okay, maybe we need to tweak this, or can we make this a little bit more concise? Can you give this in 1 or 2 sentences versus giving me this long drawn out story? So all of that is practice and feedback for you to be able to know how you can make it better. And so that is one of the pieces that I see dancers do when they're not practiced and they are not confident in what they're bringing to the table with their intro, is that they often fidget and they don't even know it. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little homework. I want you to write out 5 to 10 things that make you unique. And I want you just to make a note in your phone or on your desk. And whenever it pops up, like I said, it could come up when you're brushing your teeth or you're driving, whatever. If you're driving, make sure you do a voice note, not text it in your phone. Side note. But I want you to just start thinking, what is interesting about you? What do you value? What is something that nobody else brings to the table? And be confident and comfortable in who you are. And if you do write them down, I would love for you to post them on Instagram and tag me so I can repost you and see that you're working on your intro. Okay, so after you have written them all out, I want you to stand up in front of a mirror, video yourself, and practice. Then you can see what is your tendencies, how are you enunciating, how is your voice and your posture and all of those things, and then get those reps in just like you would getting repetitions of a routine. And then I want you to put it in your schedule and practice it once a week, once a month, whatever you feel like you need to do. You only know how much you need to practice this, and be honest with yourself of how much you need to work on your like quote unquote public speaking, right? So those are the 3 steps that I want you to do. I want you to brainstorm, I want you to film yourself, and then I want you to set it in your schedule and practice. And if you feel like you are not going to set it in your schedule and you want guidance, I would love to invite you to apply to our program at thecultivatecode.co/apply. You can also DM me on Instagram, just the word apply, and I'll send you the link. And we can see if our program is the right fit for you, because I'd love to learn more about you and how we can support you. And here's just one more thing for you to think about, is that the judges choose you not only because of your dance skills, but you as a whole person, and you being able to showcase what you bring to the table, your values through your introduction, can be such an important piece of the audition process for you. And there's things during the audition process that you can control and that you can't control. You, at the end of the day, cannot control what the judges think of you and whether or not they choose you for the team. However, you can control how you show up in every single element of the process. Your resume, your interview, your technique, your performance, all of those pieces you can control when you put time, energy, and effort into the process of preparing for auditions. And you can control whether or not you're just another dancer in the room or you're a dancer that the judges remember. And if you feel like that you struggle with any of those pieces, I would love to invite you to our 3 Secrets to Audition Success Masterclass. It's a free masterclass, and you can DM me the word masterclass on Instagram at the Cultivate Code, and I will send you the link to sign up for our next session. I cannot wait to see you practicing your intros. Make sure to tag me on Instagram if you do, and I cannot wait for you to make it onto your dream team.